Samanta Chakravalesu Atra Gachantu Devata Saddhammang Munirajas Sunantu Saghamukadang Dhammasavana Kalu Ayang Badhanta Dhammasavana Kalu Ayang Badhanta Dhammasavana Kalu Ayang Badhanta Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Our homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the perfectly self-enlightened One. Rupang bhikkhave anatta, rupang chahita anatta abhavissa, naidang rupang abhadaya samvatteya. Labheta cha me rupe evam me rupang hotu, evam me rupang ma ahositi. Dear listeners, subject to the discourse today, Anaththalakkhana Sutta, the discourse on the non-self, not self, characteristic, characteristics. So, thus I heard on one occasion, the Blessed One was living at Varanasi in the deer park at Isipatana. There he addressed the monks of the group of 5 as bhikkhus. Then they replied as, yes, Lord. Then the Blessed One said like this: Rupang bhikkhave anatta, because the form or the body is not self. Rupancha atta abhavis, that means were the form atta, that means were the form or were the body self, then this body or the form would not lead to affliction or disease. And again he asked, what is he's telling? Rupam bhikkhave anatta, because this body is not self. Rupam cheta atta abhavisa. Agidang rupang abhadaya samvatteya. Were this body is the self, then this body would not lead to affliction or the disease. It need not be trouble to you if this body is your soul or yourself. We can take it as the form, and sometimes they explains as the form, and sometimes they explains as the form, and Sutta Pitaka, sometimes it explains the rupa as the body. So for the general idea, it's easy to take as body, and if you think more deeply, you can take it as any form. Form mean the body or the visuals or sounds or the smells, tangibles, and those things. These all things are not selves. In the similar way, you can take it as the body, the rupang bhikkhave anatta. The body is not self. If this body is the self, it will not cause to affliction. And one could have it of mahositi. and one could have it this body. Let my body be thus. Let my body be not thus. You can't take like that. And since body is not self, so it leads to affliction, and none can have it of body. Let my body be thus. Let my body be not thus. You can't take like this. So the body is not self. Dear ones, we can only have five things as ourself. If we think about our soul or our spirit or ourself, we just have soul or our spirit or ourself. We just have five things. Those are those are we call in the Dhamma the five clinging aggregates. One is the body, the second one sensations, third one the perceptions, and the volitional activities and mental preparations. Then last one is the cognition, or you can tell it consciousness. Those are the things we can take as ourselves. But Lord Buddha is explaining this body is not self. If this body is the self, it will not cause to affliction. It will not cause to disease or trouble. And you never can or trouble. And you never can have this body let this body be like this body not be like this. You can't take that, take like that. So the body is not self. Then again, sensations. Vedana anatta, vedana chedang atta bhavis, vedana bhavati. These sensations also, first for example, we can tell in the body. Can you can you have the body like this? Oh, I don't be uh, old. I don't become old. I want to stay at young, stay as like young, and don't my hair hair uh, become white. I'm be more beautiful than this. You you can never think like that. You can't expect like that, because why? This body is not yourself. If this body is yourself, if it is in your, under your control, you must have a power to control this, but you haven't. So this body is not yourself. Then the sensations also same. If these sensations are yours, you must have power to control it, but you haven't. You can't expect from this body be like this, let it not be like this. You can't have like that. So the sensations also that. So the sensations also not yourself. As an example, once you feel some unpleasant sensations while someone blaming you may feel some unpleasant sensation, but you can't expect, you can't control it. Oh, I feel pleasant sensations, or let I don't feel unpleasant sensations. You can't expect like that, because sensations are not under your control. Sensations are an effect of a cause. So you can't expect to be like this or let not be like this. Be like this. So this is the reason. So the sensations also not yourself. After that, the perceptions also. Sanya bhikkhave anatta, the perceptions are not yourself. If the sensations are yourself, it will not cause to affliction. It will not cause to disease. It will not cause to troubling. And you can't expect as let these perceptions be like this, let these perceptions not be like this. You can't have like that. Can't have like that. So the perception, as an example, once you meet somebody who is your enemy, you can't perceive him as your friend. Sometimes you like to perceive him as your friend, but you can't. You always feel some angry with him, little hatred with him. But if the perceptions are yours, you must have a power to control that perceptions. But the perceptions also not yours. Dear ones, please close your eyes and try to listen while comprehending, while contemplating on these matters from your mind. The perceptions also you can't have like that. But why, how suffering arises? How the suffering arises? But you're thinking, you're expecting those things, those aggregates to be like this, don't be like this. So that's why the suffering arises in your mind, stress arises in your mind, unless it will not. So that is the way of perceptions. And the volitional activities also. The volitional activities, the intentions or the preparations of the mind, also not self. Always our mind is talking, always talking. But we can't have the mind, uh, the volitional activities. Once you see someone and once you feel some angry or lust about some person, you like to relinquish that lust to anger, but you can't. Always the lustful thoughts or hateful thoughts arise in your mind. If these volition activities yours, you must have the power to control those volitional activities. But you haven't any power like that. Because why? The volitional activity is also not yours. Those also not self. And contemplate on the cognitions. The cognitions of nose, tongue, body and mind. These cognitions also. The cognition is the most, consciousness is the most deepest point, because some early Indian sages ha- had understood those body sensations, perceptions, volition activities are not myself, but they all are tangled in consciousness. But they all has thought cognition is my cognition is myself. But Lord Buddha explains the cognition also an effect of a cause. You can have a clear explanation from in Digha Nikaya, long uh, discourses, long length discourses. It explains there's a cycle of name, form, and consciousness, name, form, and cognition. That is the deepest point in the Dhamma. We can explain it later another day. However, the cognition also not self. And can you help to let be consciousness, let this cognition be like this? Don't be like this. You can't have like that. If this cognition is yours, if you like to cognize something beautiful, you must have a power to cognize like that. If this cognition is yours or yourself, once your mother once your mother blame you, you can have you must have a power to uh, don't cognize those blamings. But you don't have a power uh, to cognize this, so don't cognize like that. Because why? The cognition is not under your control. The cognition also not self. That is the truth. So again, Lord Buddha asking like this: Dear monks, how do you conceive it? Is body permanent or impermanent? Now you impermanent, Lord, they replied. Then now is what is impermanent, painful. Now is what is impermanent, painful or pleasant? They replied, painful, Lord. Then now is what is impermanent, what is painful, since subject to change, fit to be regarded thus, this is mine, this is I, this is myself. They replied, no, my lord. If something impermanent or painful and subject to the change, is it fit to tell like itself? Is it possible? Is it correct? No. There is no any possibility to tell this body as mine or I am or it is myself, because this body is not self. It's not yours. It's not under your control. In the same manner, Lord Buddha is asking about the sensations. Is the sensations permanent or impermanent? Impermanent. Something impermanent, is it painful or pleasant? Painful. If something impermanent, painful, and subject to the change, is it correct to conceive as these sensations are mine, these sensations are I am, and this is myself? Is it correct? No, it is not. We can't tell like that because the sensations are not your soul, not yourself. Listen very carefully. In this, from this sutta, the five, the first five monks have uh, attained to the nibbana, to the arahantship from this sutta. So listen very carefully. Then the perceptions also. Perceptions, permanent or impermanent? Impermanent. If something impermanent, it is painful or pleasant. This is mine, this is I, this is my soul, self. Is it correct? No, it is not. The perception is also not my soul. The volitional activity is also same. Is this volitional activities of the mind permanent or impermanent? Impermanent. If something impermanent, is it painful or pleasant? Painful. If something impermanent, painful, and subject to change, is it okay to conceive as this is mine, this is I am, this is my soul, this is myself? The cognitions also same. It's those cognitions of the eye, ear, body, and mind. Is these cognitions permanent or impermanent? Impermanent. If something impermanent, is it goes to, it is painful or pleasant? Painful. If something impermanent, painful, can it, and subject to the change, can we tell it as this is mine, this is I, this is my soul, this is myself? We can't. So the cognitions also not yourself. Template like this. How? So, dear monks, any kind of body or form, whatever, whether past, future, or presently arisen, whether gross or subtle, whether in oneself or external, whether inferior or superior, whether far or near, must with right understanding how it is be regarded thus: this is not mine, this is not I, this is not myself. Yang kinchi rupang atitanagatha paccupannang ajjantang va bahitava olarikang va sukumang va yandure santikeva etang rup netang mama neso hangasmi neso me attati evametang yathabhutang samma panyaya dattavang. The Lord Buddha has explained like this. Any kind of form, any kind of body, in the you, if you think about your past body, in your past life, past life mean uh, 2 3 days, 2 3 no, 2 3 years ago, that body, or if you think about, if you conceive about a body in your future, or if you feel the body in present moment, or any other form like sound or something, those all things, what is gross or subtle, or the superior or inferior, near or far, is all things. It is not mine. This is not I. This is not myself. Because those are the 11 ways how our mind can be diluted. We can conceive as present, past, and future, then gross or subtle, then internal, external, then inferior, superior, then near and far. All are 11 ways. So these all 11 ways we must have to understand with right understanding. Those are not, this is not I, this is not mine, this is not I, this is not myself. In age, you may feel this body as a past object, or as the body as the future object, or the object what can be what arises in this very moment as a visual or as a tangible. or a thought, you can have an idea about the body. Or if you feel the body as gross, or if you feel the body as subtle or inferior or superior about you or about another person, about a far, about a person who is in the far or the person who is in near, those all kind of uh, which type of object about the body or form but arise to your mind, you must have to contemplate, you must have to understand with right understanding. This is not mine, this is not I, this is not my soul, this is not myself. Because why? This is not my soul, this is not myself. Because why? It is not under my control. If you need to beyond the suffering, what's given by the body, you must have to comprehend the reality of this. The comprehending the reality is this is not mine, this is not I, this is not myself, because this is not under my control. So once you understand those this way, you will feel very detached. So again, Lord Buddha asking us to contemplate on sensations. Whenever any kind of sensation, whether arise in past or future or presently arising, gross or subtle, internal inferior or superior, or near, far or near, any kind of sensation, you must have to understand with the right understanding. This is not mine, this is not I, this is not myself. The sensations can be arising about past thing, or if you feel some sensation about future thing as idea, or you can feel some sensations about from this very moment, or you can feel some experience sensations like some gross or sometimes subtle, sometimes some sensations from your body or sometimes from the other people or other objects, from other objects. Or if you some sensations will be pleasant, some sensation will be unpleasant, and some sensations arise, and some sensation will be unpleasant, and some sensation arise with the far things, or some things, some sensation arise with the near things. So all type of these sensations you must have to understand. Those are not mine. Not, I am not myself. So after that, the perceptions also. The perceptions also, any kind of perception, whether as in past or future or present moment, then the gross or subtle, the internal or external, inferior or superior, near or far, any kind of perceptions. The perceptions like, oh, Mr. Deepak, Mr. Ravindra, like that way, Lord Buddha, the Bhante or something, you can perceive. This all perceive. This all perceptions because of the cause, because of the addition of eye and visual and the consciousness. Again, you feel, if you conceive the duality as the Bhante sound and eye, or just visual and my eye, like that. So because of that uh, causes, those perceptions arises. Perceptions arise. So that's why you must have to understand these perceptions effect of a cause, but this is not mine, this is not I, and this is not myself. Then the volitional activities. Volitional activities also not yourself. The volitional activities about past things or future or in presently arising, or some Volitional activities are gross, some volitional activities are subtle, some activities are subtle, some are about you, some are about external, some things about uh, inferior, or some things about superior or far or near. Any kind of volitional activity, you must have to understand this is not mine, this is not my self, and this is not I am. Netang mama, neso hamasmi, neso me atta. And finally, the cognition. Any kind of cognition, whatever, whenever past, future, or presently arisen, whether gross or external, whether inferior or superior, whether far or near, must, with right understanding how it is, be regarded as this is not mine, this is not I, this is not myself. Because the cognitions can be arise about the past or future things, or the presently arising cognitions, or some cognitions about gross or subtle, far or near, any kind of. But those all cognitions, because of causes. In Mahanidana Sutta, it explains the concept of existence arises with a cycle of name, form, and cognition, Nama, Rupa, and Vijnana. According to Sutta Pitaka, it explains Nama Rupa in this way. Vedana Sanya Chetana Paso Mansikaro Ayang Uchatauso Namang Chattari ja Mahabhutana Chatunna ja Mahabhutana Upadaya Rupang Idang Uchatauso Rupang Iti Dancha Namang Dancha Rupang Idang Nama Rupa. Sensations, perceptions, intentions, contact, and attention is the name or the name, the naming, the primary primary accept of naming are those, and the four main elements: solidity, liquidity, temperature, and air. Those things and what arise from this, what have these qualities, those things are the rupa, are the form. Those are the name and form. So Lord Buddha has explained in Mahanidana Sutta, there's a form and there's a name. Those are combined with each another, and there's a cycle of name, form, and cognition. That means now you can hear my sound. I can give an example with my sound. How my sound is the form. In your experience, my sound is the form. Then how you understand naming this sound? The primary way is according to the order of your experience. Lord Buddha firstly has mentioned the name, the sensations, not the contact. According to because Sutta Pitaka always focus on our experience, not as a theory. Firstly it says Vedana, the sensation. Once you, as an example, I will tell you this name and form. Now you are watching a TV. So in front of you there's a hot water glass. So while you watching the TV, you uh, touch this hot water glass. The hot water glass is the reflection of the form. So there's the name. What are the naming? Oh, you feel unpleasant. So there's the name. What are the naming? Oh, you feel unpleasant sensation. For that unpleasant sensation, your mind wake up from this unpleasant sensation. Oh, unpleasant. Then perception. Oh, my hand is burning. Then the intention to take out the hand, and there's a contact. There's a contact. How? There's an independent hot water glass. There's independent my body, and there's a independent cognition or independent consciousness or independent a soul, like that way. And there's an attention also. Those are the naming. And what is called contact? Passa. Passa's definition is Tinnang Sangati Passo. Tinnang mean three things. Sangati means gati mean going, go. Sangati means gati mean going, go. Sang mean a prefix about combined, combining, uh, together going. Together going of three things, we can call it as passa, contact. So what are those three things? External, internal, and consciousness, cognition. Once you touch that hot water glass, there's a sensation, perception, intention. Then you, according to the order of your experience, then you feel the contact. Oh, there's a independent hot water glass and my hand and the person who's experiencing the three uh, three aspects, three parts. Now you together going with those three things. You together going with those three things. Now your mind conceives about independent, an independent hot water glass, an independent body, an independent soul, or independent consciousness. So that's what we call a contact. After this contact, there's a attention. Attention is there. That is manasikara. So, however, because of this, uh, now hot water glass and naming. That's what we call name and form, nama rupa. Because of this nama rupa, now I told you before, there's a cycle of name, form, and cognition. Because this, because of this name and form mean a cognition. That, I'll tell you it again. The hot water glass and your sensation, perception, intention, contact, and attention, that we call name and form. Name and form mean cognition. Cognition means a reflection of name and form. Name and form means a cognition. What you have to cognize? A name and form. So the name and form mean a cognition. And what is the work of cognition? Again, your mind, your diluted mind, shows you a duality, an independent hot water glass, an independent body. How? Now I'm explaining the cycle of name, form, and cognition. Before you experience that hot water glass, how will you experience that? With the name and form, the hot water glass and naming. So, because of name and form, your experience arises as a cognition, After you experience this cognition, after work of this cognition, it shows you a duality called an independent hot water glass and, a person who experiencing. Then because of name and form, conscious cognition arises. And because of cognition, it again shows you a name and form. External form and naming. And again, name and form mean a cognition. And as a work of cognition, it again shows you a duality. Duality mean a cognition. Again, as a work of cognition, it shows you a duality. These preparations, this preparating, we can call as sankhara, independent origination. The preparations. The ignorance of this preparating, we can call it as ignorance, avidya. This is not my explanation. This is in the Mahanidhana Sutta, the the deepest point of the Dhamma. It explains the cycle of name, form, and cognition. So, because of this concept, this is because of this system, because of this system, because of this cycle, the all beings conceive a real world and a concept of existing. I am living in a real world, but there is just a cognition. This movement means not the past, not the future. This movement means just a cognition without an owner, without an observer and observing thing. Just a empty cognition. Once you understand this, we can see a stanza in Kevatta Sutta in Digha Nikaya, the long length discourses. One monk uh, has gained supernatural powers. So he got a idea, got a question. Um, where's the Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayu? That means where's the four great elements will be seized. So he go to the all god realms, all heavens, and again he go to the Brahma worlds and ask from others where's the uh, four great elements will seized. Each and every one ask him to ask from the next one, ask from the next one like that way. So finally he went to the Mahabrahma, and Mahabrahma asked him to take him away. In that time he was in the meeting. So Mahabrahma told him to, I don't know the answer of this. Why did you came here? You can ask this question from Lord Buddha in Jetavana. Please go to him and ask from him. Then that you can ask this question from Lord Buddha in Jetavana. Please go to him and ask from him. Then that monk went to the Lord Buddha's presence. So again he asked from the Lord Buddha where's the four great elements will ceased. In that time, a Lord Buddha asked him to this question I need to this question is wrong. I need to change this question, and for that I will answer you. So the what is the changing of this question? Katha namancha rupancha says Katha apocha patavi tejo vayo nagatati Katha dikancha rasancha anuntulang subhasubang Katha namancha rupancha asesang uparujjati. That is the changing. Katha patavi apo Katha apocha patavi tejo vayo nagatati. Where's the place the solidity Katha apocha patavi tejo vayo nagatati. Where's the place the solidity, liquidity, temperature, and air will not find a footing. Whereas the place will those find no footing. And kata dikaja rasancha anuntulang subha subha. Where the long concepts of long, short, and gross and subtle, and pleasant and unpleasant. Where's the place those concepts will no find a footing. Kathanamacha Rupancha Asesanguparujjati. Whereas the place, the name and form will not manifest. So then Lord Buddha has given the answer, that is Vinyanang Anidasanang Anantang Sabbato Pabang Katha Apoja Patavi Tejo Vayo Nang Anantang Sabbato Pabang Katha Apoja Patavi Tejo Vayo Nagadati Dikajarasancha Anutulang Subhasubhang Katanamancha Rupancha Asesang Uparujati. Vinyanasa Nirodhena Etetang Uparujati. That means Vinyanang Anidasana. The consciousness, cognition becomes non-manifest, non-reflective. Because always cognition means a reflection of name and form. But we can have a cognition without manifesting. How? By detached to the cognition. By understanding this movement cognition without an observer and without observing thing. Just an empty cognition. So Vijnana Ganidasana, once the cognition becomes non-manifestive, once the cognition becomes non-manifestive, Anantang Sabbatopaba, the endless, by the endless wisdom, endless light of illuminance of endless wisdom. Because in one sutta, Lord Buddha has explained, Chatasso ima bhikkhave paba, katame chatasso, chandapaba, suryapaba, agnipaba, prajnapaba. That means, dear monks, there is four types of lights, four types of luminances. What are those? The luminance of moon, the luminance of sun, the luminance of fire, and the luminance of wisdom. From those four, dear monks, the wisdom, the light of wisdom is the most greatest one. So so Lord Buddha has uh, given the synonym. Lord Buddha has uh, give the synonym to the wisdom as a light, as a great illuminance. So once you make your cognition as non-manifestive by the endless light of wisdom, etha namanchuru etha the apocha patavi tejo vayuna ghadati. In that place, uh, there's the solidity, liquidity, temperature, and air will not find a footing. If you just have just a cognition, if you look at on table or chair or door or wall, there is just a cognition to you. The solidity or liquidity or things will not manifest in your cognition. It will not find a footing. And etha diganchara sancha anuntulang subhasubha. In that place, uh, the concept of long, short, the concept of gross and subtle, the concept of inferior and superior, or pleasant or unpleasant, those will not find a footing. Because if you just, all things just a cognition to you without an observing thing, there is no idea about long, short, there is no any idea about, uh, there is no any conceiving about subtle or gross, there is no any conceiving about pleasant or unpleasant. That's just a cognition. In that place, those concepts also will not find a footing. Concepts also will not find a footing. Etanamancha rupancha sesanguparujyati. In that place, the name and form will disappear, remainlessly disappear. Without any remainlessly, name and form will disappear from your cognition. Name and form will not manifest in your cognition. Vijnana sanirodhena
बनते लेफ्ट झाले ते जॉईन होतील परत.
We are recording got disconnected.
ऑडिओ डिस्कनेक्टेड बनते.
Yes. Which time? In that time, in what time what I was speaking about? That stanza.
Stanza is finished just 1 minute ago.
1 minute ago. Then okay. That means I talked about. In that place there is by the cessation of the work of cognition, all things will not find a footing, all things will disappear by the cessation of cognition. By the once your cognition becomes non-manifestive, by the endless luminance of wisdom, this all problem will solve. So this is the work of the work of cognition is showing you the duality, the world and me, eye and visual, ear and sound. But the cognition also an effect of a cause. What is the cause? Name and form is the cause. Because of name and form, cognition. And by the cognition again name and form. Again, because of again cognition. This is the cycle of cognition and name and form. So, however, now he understands this cognition also, not mine, not my soul. It's not under my control. So it's not myself. It is just a. If you feel, oh, what will happen when I die? It also just a cognition of the mind. Once your cognition becomes non-manifestive, once you're going to die, in that moment also, you may your karma will shows you a name and form about the next life, but your cognition now your cognition is not conceive that name and form. It will not reflect that name and form. So that's why your cognition can't appear in another life. So your birth is finished from this very life. How it will happen? Lord Buddha explaining, dear monks, when a noble follower who has heard the truth see thus, he finds estrangement in body, he finds estrangement in sensations, and he finds estrangement in perceptions, like disgusting. Estrangement is I like. He finds estrangement in volitional activities, and he finds estrangement in cognition, like disgusting in cognition. When he finds estrangement, the Lord Buddha is explaining, nibbinang virajyati. When he finds estrangement, passion fades out. He will detach to it. Viraga avimuchyati. With the fading of passion, he will liberated. He is liberated. Vimuttasmin vimuktimiti jnana bhavati. When liberated, there's a knowledge that he is liberated. How? Kina jati usitam brahmacharyang katang karaniyang naparang ittattati pajanati. How? He understands birth is exhaust. The holy life has been lived out. Lived out. What can be done is done. Of this there is no more beyond. He understands. So that is the way of the cessation of the cessation of suffering. That is what the Blessed One said. The monks were glad and they approved his words. So now during the utterance, the hearts of the monks of the group of 5 were liberated from ties of through clinging no more. These all 5 monks attained the arahantship by the listening this sermon. So how it happened? Their whole mind be detached volitional activities and cognition. And if you also can, if you listen this sermon very well, if you understand this very well, you also can attain the at least the stream entering by listening. If you understand, if you comprehend this very well, how? As a small exercise, you can close your eyes. You can look. You can contemplate on your feel of your body. Oh, this body is not my control. Abandon it to one side. I will abandon this body. It is not my. And contemplate on sensations. Those are also not in my control. Those are not my abandon. I abandoning these sensations. Abandon it for another side. And abandon the perceptions also. Those also not mine. Abandon it. And the volitional activity is also not my control. Abandon it to another side. And the cognition also not myself. Abandon it to another side. Now these 5 clinging aggregates you abandon for 5 sides. Now look at your mind by the mind. See your mind by the mind. You will find some emptiness. This emptiness also, you just have a feeling and perception. Now contemplate on feeling. Yes, some pleasant or neither pleasant nor unpleasant feeling is there. Oh, this is the sensation. This is the sensation. And understand, oh, this is the perception of this, how I perceive this sensation. Oh, this is the perception. You have to understand the perception clearly. This is the perception. Once you understand this, automatically your mind abandon those. But unless you can do it artificially, I'll abandon this sensation. You can abandon it again, and I'll abandon this perception, abandon it again. Then again, look at your mind by the mind. So your mind maybe find an emptiness from this stage. This emptiness also impermanent. Within small time, it will be seen. So if I think this is mine, this is my soul, this is myself, it is not appropriate. So this emptiness also a thought and mind. It is also just a cognition without an observer and without an observing thing. Just a cognition. Once you comprehend very well the emptiness also as just a cognition, your mind will find a stilling of all preparations. That's we called Nibbana. Nibbana can be experienced by uh, to the by the stream enter in his level, the once returner in his level, by his level, the non-returner by according to his level. Santang etam panitan yadidang sabba sankhara samato sabbupatipati sakko tanakhayo virago nirodho nibbana. This is peaceful, this is excellent, namely the stilling of all preparations, the relinquishment of all assets, the destruction of craving, detachment, cessation, extinction. If you abandon this all, that's just the stilling of all preparations. The relinquishment of all five linking aggregates. That is the cessation of existence. There's no any idea anymore about world and me. So I bless you all to feel the fearfulness of samsara and do more effort to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana in this very life.